Hello everyone, blessed llamas, happy full moon today. There's a full moon in Aquarius this Tuesday. It's so wonderful to be back with you all. I missed you all for the last few weeks. We've had some major weather happen here in New Hampshire, and unfortunately we had not only a bridge completely collapse on the road where I live, but also some major flooding that necessitated us leaving the home. So thank you all for being so patient. It's wonderful to get to connect in this way again though, and I most certainly missed you and thought of you all over the last 2 weeks. It's good to be back. It's a nice way to start August, connecting with you all in this way. So a few of you did request that I do a go hard list for Oracle decks, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm very excited to talk about this list, and I realized as I was compiling the list that I tend to go more towards tarot for study. And so I did have to sit with really, what Oracle decks called to me as far as deep levels of study go. And what I was feeling that over the years, the decks that I turned to for inspiration. And so I do want to say just a caveat to this list. I have excluded decks like the Faeries Oracle and the Kali Oracle because those are most definitely study decks, but they're more devotional decks to me. So they're decks that I work with exclusively when I'm connecting with Goddess and with that specific face of deity. And so I haven't included them in this list, but if you are looking for deity specific decks, then I would say, that you really want to do a serious amount of work with, then I would definitely say giving those a chance is a good idea. And I also left out decks like Sacred Rebels, Faceted Garden, and while I seriously considered it, I also left out Soul Cards, both volumes. I find, I don't know, but just for me really with this list, I felt like those style of decks are more like self-growth focused, soul growth focused from a Sacred Rebel standpoint. And then from the soul cards perspective, those are very intuitive decks. So I left those out of this list for those reasons, because I felt like they were very specific and that you would turn to Sacred Rebels in order to understand where you are in your journey, say more than because you wanted a deck to do a deep dive and a month-long study with, as an example. So that being said, let's dive into the list. Okay, number 5 on my list, and I have placed these in order of like my top go hard Oracle deck, is number 1 in this case. So number 5 is the Memento Mori Oracle. I think you guys know how much I love this deck. So much. It's just kind of meant for me, really. And it's a deck that over time I've just come to love even more. Now this is a Lenormand and an Oracle deck. It's an independently produced deck, so it is a little bit of an investment. I will put the link to Black and the Moon's website down below. I'm not 100% sure if this deck is currently available for purchase or not, but I will put that link there so you can at least find her information and connect with her in that way. And the reason why this is on my go hard list for Oracle decks is because not only do you have the divination system of Lenormand to explore if that calls for you, but this deck really gives you an opportunity to create your own system. So yes, you do get a little white book with some associations for and general meanings for the cards, but you have this freedom with this deck to really explore your own working system, your own divinatory system. And it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun to journal with this deck and to explore how the very concise imagery really can take you to a place all of your own. And Coastal Curiosities was very close to being on this list for this reason, but I find Memento Mori kind of pushed it out just in that this deck really does kind of want a grimoire, I find. It likes to be kind of exhaustively written about and time spent with it. And so for me, this becomes a deck that I do a lot of writing and journaling and association with, and I'm working on developing my own language with, especially when it comes to reading for others. So it's one of those delightful decks that you can sink your teeth into as far as working hard with it. You know, those times, we all have those times when we're really called to do that study and that chop wood, carry water aspect. And so to me, the Memento Mori Oracle really gives you that opportunity. It's a super fun, unique deck. And if you're someone who is a dark aesthetic loving, it's also perfectly matched to that. So Memento Mori is number 5 on this list for that reason. The next deck on this list is the Faeries Oracle by Brian Froud and Jessica Macbeth. If you want a study the hell out of a guidebook deck, this is the deck for you. Not only do I still to this day feel that this is the most accurate representation of the way that I experience Fae energy, but this guidebook is in depth, it's exhaustive, it's meant to be worked with, it's meant to be journaled with, it's meant to be studied with. The card spread exercises in this book I still use to this day. I tend to edit it and shift it for what works for me at this point in time and for students as well. But the card spreads in this book are so, and I would say like the homework, the card spreads and the homework, the work that you can do, the exercises you can do with this guidebook are insane. Not only that, but you can also build your own repertoire and language with the Fae as well. So I'm just going to show you some of the imagery here. Absolutely stunning imagery. If you're looking to connect with the Fae, this is a great option, a really, really great option. And to me, again, the closest to the Fae out there. Just such a stunning deck. I love this deck so much. It has its own personality. It definitely demands attention when it wants it, and this deck just ups and walks out of my life literally whenever it wants to take a break from me. I feel like this deck is definitely in charge. So the Faeries Oracle is number 4 on this list for a study deck. Excuse me. And like I said, even if you're not drawn to the Fae, the way that the guidebook is set up and the exercises, the card spreads within it are really great ways. It provides a really great way to understand and connect with any deck. And so I do highly recommend the exercises and the homework aspect of the Faeries Oracle in general across the board. The next deck on this list is the Magical Botanical Oracle. I'm not a green witch. I'm not a kitchen witch or a hedge witch. It's just not my strength. I don't try to pretend to be something that I'm not. But this deck has just simply won me over. And it's allowed me to look at the magic and mystery of plant magic when it comes to a witchcraft practice and path in a whole new way. Not only that, but the deck itself really inspires me when it comes to creative writing and the joys of being a witch. There's just something about this artwork that really inspires me when it comes to the beauty, the magic, and mystery of a path of witchcraft, of a left-hand path, of a path that is so intimately connected with nature. And so if you're looking for a deck to help you connect with nature at a deeper level, that also has a guidebook with a lot of jumping off points for journaling and for starting to grow in comfort level with a personal magical practice, then I think the Magical Botanical is a wonderful option. It is it's just such a special deck. I love this deck so much. Much like Memento Mori, they just get sweeter and more delicious, and there are further realms and depths to explore over time with these two decks for me. I really, really genuinely love these decks, and I'm very, very inspired by Magical Botanical. Again, when it comes to just enjoying the path of the dark goddess, of the dark feminine, and embracing working with nature in crafting an experience and path that's deeply fulfilling. So this is the Magical Botanical Oracle. And like I said, the guidebook, while not as amazing as the Faeries Oracle guidebook, it does give you information and various ways of working with it and various ways of incorporating the plant magic into your magical practice in a really lovely way. So you get some meat with this. You can do some studies, some journaling, and some ritual with this deck just by working with the guidebook. So Magical Botanical is number 3 on my list for that reason. The next deck on my list has come in and out of my life and was most recently gifted to me by a lovely viewer and client. I'm deeply grateful to her. And this is the Quareia, the Magician's deck. Tarot Shrink talks a lot. Well, I don't know a lot, but I've seen her talk about this deck on her channel. And she's also interviewed the deck creator. And both of those are really fascinating. If I remember, I will put the links to those videos down below so you can explore them if you're drawn to this deck. This is a deck for a witch that wants to be and step into a magical practice. It's very much focused on that. This deck requires a lot of study. This is not a pick it up and read intuitively deck. There's associations for everything, and you have to spend time with this guidebook. And you have to read it through and you have to learn and understand the associations, in my opinion, if you want to work with the deck the correct way. This is why to this date, I've never, I shouldn't say that. This is why at this date, I do not read for others with this deck. I read for one other person with this deck over the years and the results were not the most positive. So I don't, because it's such a powerful magical deck. And so because of that, I'm very, very cautious with reading for others with this deck. It is a very honest oracle deck. It is more like tarot in that sense. And so you do want to be in the right place when you work with this deck. But if you're looking for something to increase occult understanding chops, increase magical and ritual practice, awareness, understanding, and path for yourself, really deepen into elemental work, and an understanding of the seeker's path, if you will, this is a great deck for that. It's one that requires study, it requires attention and intention, it requires focus, and it's a really, really powerful deck. I can't recommend it highly enough, with the understanding that this, much like the Faeries Oracle, is a deck that literally walks out of my life when it doesn't want to work with me. So, but she's back. So we are working with her and understanding the power of her magic and the depth. This is a really, really beautiful deck. I can't recommend it highly enough if that's what you're looking to experience in your practice. If you're looking for an easy deck, this is not the deck for you. Please don't. Please don't. But if you want something you can really sink your teeth into and really craft practice and ritual around, then this is a great deck for that. You know, and I've been thinking about compiling both of these lists. I'm someone that works with daily draws and that loves decks that I can really spend my time with and get to know at a really intimate level, which for me, in and of itself, thus does require study and practice and work and journaling and writing and getting to know it. And that is the epitome. That deck is the epitome of that for me. My number one recommendation for the Go Hard Oracle deck list is the Weaver's Oracle. This deck, independently produced, much like most of the decks on this list, well, 3 out of 5. This deck, if you are looking for crone myth and working with myth of indigenous peoples, and you want a deck that requires study and dedication and craft, as well as ritual, I cannot recommend this deck enough. This deck is so special. This is a deck that I hold in deep reverence, that I work with very conscientiously, and that I really do feel like if you are looking to connect with the crone aspect of the goddess, you want to work with this deck. This deck is meant to be journeyed with, it's meant to be journaled with, and it's meant to assist you in understanding the crone face of the sacred feminine at a deeper level. Not only that, the artist worked on this deck for so long, and she had such a reverence for every aspect of the work with this, you really feel that when you work with this deck. So as you can see, you have a really great guidebook. I would really strongly recommend that you work with this guidebook, especially at the beginning. You know, read it through. When you do your daily draws, read it through. Journal with the myth. And there are multiple sections for each card, you know, and for the clan the deck is included in, because there's associations. There's multiple associations for each aspect of this deck. Excuse me, of the card that you draw, and of course the deck as a whole. And so you're working with different quadrants, different elements, different stations, different clans, and different times within the wheel of the year. And so there's a lot of layers that you can explore with this deck, and you can really take your time and deepen into the love with this deck and connect with the crone energy within yourself when you work with this deck as well. Because it is, I believe it ships from England, so it does take a little time to get to you if you're stateside. It's 100% worth it. And every aspect of the imagery within the card, there's a reason for it. There were, I believe, blankets, yarn created, blankets from yarn created, cloth was created. I know I was going to say that wrong. For each of the images, the explanation within the guidebook has the name of the grandmother, and then her yarn and her cloth. Her yarn, her braid, and her cloth, excuse me. And so there are associations within each aspect, each card, each aspect, and every single thing that you see within this card, there's a reason and there's an association with it. So if you're looking for something that's going to be meaty, that's going to take you in a new direction, because there's not a lot of decks out there like this. This theme, this focus, and the intention with which this deck was created, there's nothing else like it out there at this point in time, I feel. And it's very, very crone focused, really, really beautiful. I cry when I work with this deck all the time, not from a space of necessarily shadow work, but just from how beautiful this deck is and how beautiful the myth and working with this energy of the dark feminine, of the sacred feminine is. It's so powerful, it's so beautiful, and it's very shamanic in nature. So if you're looking for something like that in your practice and you want a deck that you can spend time with, get to know, build your own grimoire with, you know, craft your own language with, this is the deck for you. It's number one on this list for a very specific reason, and because for me it is that powerful, it's that impactful, it's that beautiful, it's that unique. And it's going to take you on a serious journey that evolves over time into something really beautiful and powerful. So this has been the Go Hard Oracle deck list. I hope you all enjoyed it. Blessed Lammas, happy full moon. If you're watching this on the 1st of August, I'm sending you, as always, much love and many blessings, and I will see you in the next video.